Hey there. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what is a brand and why you might want to actually create one. But before we get into that, hey there, I'm Aino. I help business owners to create brands that their customers can't resist. Uh, you can find me at dailycreative.io, so go check it out. I'd love to see you there. But let's get to the topic of the day. Okay, so what is a brand? Essentially, your brand isn't, it's like a reputation. It's basically what people say behind your back. So we have this famous quote by Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So I've highlighted that you're not in the room because that is the key kind of thing there. So people will say one thing to your face, but when you're not in the room, what is what they would say? So what would your customers say about your business? Would they recommend it to their friends? What is the impression that they have? So a brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well, is how Bezos continues. So one thing about reputation is, and for people as well as for brands, is um, that we can't 100% always control it. So we can always try to influence, uh, let's say that our personal reputation would to be on our best behavior, help others, service others, all that good stuff. But we can, just like our own personal reputation, our brand as well, it's 100% not in our control. So with our brand, we can do our best to influence, and with our branding, we can do our best to influence and try to do our best to have a good reputation, so to speak. Okay, well, brand is also the promise of an experience. And these are the words of American graphic designer Alexander Easley. So it's, in essence, it's all the interactions that your customer has had with you, with your business. It's all the touch points that your business or your customers can have with your business. It's your kind of website. It's all these different things. It's, let's see, I think I have a list here. So it's everything. It's your brick and mortar if you have one. It's your website if you have one. It's your products, your services, the experience that your customer has with those. It's, of course, your visual identity. It's essentially your logo, your colors, your fonts. Those are the visual representation of that brand. It can be a support call that your customer has with you. It's, of course, all your marketing, the tone of voice and the language that you use. It's might be the invoice that you send, and of course it's that like the reminder of the late fee also that you send is part of your brand. It's the entire customer journey from end to end. A podcast, a blog, or any other type of content that you produce, essentially it is how you make them feel, how your business and how interactions with your business make your customer feel. So think about, for example, an Apple store or a Apple product. So you think that, oh, I need to go buy a new iPhone. You already immediately have a gut feeling of what it is like to walk into the Apple store, what it is like to interact with the salespeople there, what it's going to look like, what the packaging is going to look like, what the product is going to be like, what the experience with the product is going to be like, how the product is packaged, what it is like to get it serviced if you need. So all those things. So brand is not just one individual thing. It's a combination of everything that customer does with your business and all the touch points that they have access to. So in essence, that should be a relief or a consoling thought, because it's, while not one thing makes or breaks your brand, it is going to be a combination of multiple things. So if you don't have the perfect logo, or if you don't have the perfect website, it might not, it's like alone one thing is not gonna, like I said, make or break your brand. So it takes the pressure off of one individual element, but it then actually puts the pressure back for all of those elements to work together for your benefit and to form the best possible brand. So I want to emphasize here that really what is a brand? It is how you or your business makes your customers feel. It is a gut feeling that your customers have formed about your business, and the kind of feeling and thought and impression they have in their mind. It might not always be based on facts. It might not always be based on true stories, or it might not always be fair, but branding as a process is your best bet to try to manage that reputation. So remember that when we talk about feelings and emotions, that is the connection that you're trying to make with your customer. Okay, so we talked about brand, and I kind of already hinted towards branding. If brand is essentially what your customers say about you when you're not in the room, what is branding then? Okay, let's take a look. So I just mentioned this. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Well, branding and brand management is basically your best effort to influence that conversation. So your branding is part strategy, part visual identity, part brand outreach and experience and all that stuff. And with all those, you're gonna create this. It's a process that is gonna create an experience that is the brand. And by that experience, you're trying to influence that conversation that happens behind your back. So basically, you want the best possible reputation. And I've added brand management here because branding we typically associate with the process that happens in the beginning. So we create a strategy, we create visual identity, and we might create some other things. And after that, most people would wish that now that I've created all these assets and my website and my brand guidelines, and I have the strategy and I have the tone of voice, and this is what I'm going to do. The thing is that brand is not stagnant. It's not static. That will forever stay as is. And one of the reasons is that because so much of what your brand is defined by your audience, by your customer. So you need to have an ongoing kind of mindset and understanding that your brand will, throughout the life cycle of your business, need management effort. So you have to make sure that everything that you do is aligned to the brand. So let's recap that a little bit. So brand is an experience. It's an expectation that your customer will have about what it is like to use your products, your services, and interact with your business. And it's a reputation. It's like we've said multiple times, it's essentially what people say about you behind your back. So so that's the brand. Branding, on the other hand, is the effort that you put into building that brand. It's the visual, it's physical, written, whatever manifestation of the brand that you create. It can be strategic, or part strategy, part design. And then brand management that comes hand in hand with both branding and brand is your ongoing effort to ensure that the customer experience that you've created and the reputation that it now exists remains brand aligned, so that you are trying to and able to influence that conversation that happens in rooms around you at all times. So those are the three basically concepts that come with branding. So here I have what I call brand pyramid. This is a way that I visualize what brands are essentially made of. So I'm just gonna, this would take a lot of time to unpack. So I'm just gonna give you like a quick overview of what it is. And the way you wanna read this pyramid is from bottom towards top. And it's also to kind of illustrate the foundational elements. So what is the firm foundation that the rest of the layers will rest on, basically. So the bottom layer, especially when we talk about small business owners, solopreneurs who are also the original founders of their businesses, the bottom layer of why are you in business? And this, when we talk about personal branding, it is critical to understand and communicate. It creates a connection to your audience beyond your financial gains and efforts to sell something, so to speak. Above that, we talk about value proposition. So what do you offer? Not just products and services, what is the value that you bring to your customers? On the third layer, we talk about what makes it unique. And by it could be what makes you, if you're a service provider, what makes your service, if you're a product-based business, what makes your products unique, but also what is the unique point of view. So it's not always necessarily the uniqueness of the product or service, it's also the unique point of view that you have in the industry within the context of this product or service. Then the layer 4 is who is it for? What's the target audience for it? Of course, layer 5, how do you describe it? What is the brand personality and the positioning that you have for your business? What would be the words that you describe? Some adjectives around your brand, your business. Layer 6, so see how many layers we've had to climb up before we actually come to the visual identity. So you have to make all the strategic layers, the layers from 1 to 5 are actually brand strategy. So we haven't necessarily designed anything yet, nothing's visual yet, but then we come to the layer 6. What does it look like? What is the look and feel of it? What's the visual identity? So now we're going to start making a visual manifestation of your brand. And then at the top layer, what does it feel like? And while I've paired it with messaging, so oftentimes it's messaging that you put out, but also the tone of voice that your brand uses and so forth. But as a top of the tip of the pyramid, everything below it falls under it. So all the layers below together will form this whole of what does it feel like? What is the feeling that your customer gets when they interact with your business and your brand? So that's just a very high level look at the brand pyramid that we have here. And if you want to learn more, please subscribe to this channel. There's more branding goodness coming your way. You can go to dailycreative.io/community to join my Facebook group where I teach business owners like you how to build brands that attract their ideal customers. So that was a little bit about what is brand, what is differences between brand, branding, and brand management. And if you have any questions, post in the comments. I'd be happy to jump on and answer any of those. And as always, happy branding.